Andre Norman, From Prison to Purpose. Sentenced to over 100 years for crimes committed in his youth, Andre Norman found himself in solitary confinement. In that isolation, he had an epiphany. He was the king of nowhere. Determined to change, he educated himself, earned his GED, and pursued higher learning. Upon release, he became a Harvard Fellow and now mentors globally, embodying the transformation from despair to hope. And his story proves that you shouldn't give up and lose hope. So don't give up. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. Harriet Tubman, slave to rescuer. Let me tell you a story about Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman was born into slavery. She escaped once, but instead of staying free, she risked everything to go back. Again and again she returned, guiding more than 70 people through the Underground Railroad to freedom. She carried no weapons except courage, no title except Moses to her people. Her story proves, true strength is not just escaping your chains, it's breaking them for others too. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel.
Let me tell you a story about Malala Yousafzai. Shot for advocating girls' education in Pakistan, Malala didn't back down. She continued her studies and activism despite fear. Today, she's a global symbol for education and courage, proving that one voice can ignite change, even in the darkest moments. So this story shows how you can kill the messenger, but not the message. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel and comment on how this story inspired you.
Let me tell you a story about Frank Abagnale. By the time he was 21, Frank Abagnale had forged millions in checks. He pretended to be a pilot, a lawyer, even a doctor. The FBI finally caught him, but instead of wasting away in prison, he was offered a second chance. He turned his genius for deception into a career, helping the FBI stop fraud. His life proves, even the biggest mistakes can become your greatest strengths if you decide to change direction. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. Mike Tyson, From Chaos to Redemption. Let me tell you a story about Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson rose from poverty to become the youngest heavyweight boxing champion in history. But fame, money, and bad choices led him into drugs, violence, and prison. At rock bottom, Tyson rebuilt his life. He found discipline, peace, and purpose outside the ring. Today, he's not just a fighter, he's a survivor. His story shows, even when life knocks you down, you can stand up again. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. Maya Angelou, Silence to Voice. Let me tell you a story about Maya Angelou. As a child, Maya Angelou was silenced by trauma. For years, she barely spoke a word. But deep inside, her voice was waiting. She poured her pain into poetry, into books, into speeches that would inspire the entire world. Maya went from silence to becoming one of the greatest authors and activists of all time. Her story proves even the quietest voices can echo for generations. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. Chris Gardner, From Homeless to Millionaire. Let me tell you a story about Chris Gardner. Chris Gardner was a single father with a toddler in his arms, and nowhere to sleep. He spent nights in train stations, in public bathrooms, and in shelters, all while chasing a dream of becoming a stockbroker. Every day, he worked harder than anyone else, refusing to give up even when he was exhausted and broke. Years later, he became a millionaire, and his journey inspired the movie, The Pursuit of Happiness. His life shows us, the struggle you're in today could be preparing you for your breakthrough tomorrow. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. Desmond Doss, Hero Without a Gun. Let me tell you a story about Desmond Doss. During World War II, Desmond Doss refused to carry a gun. His fellow soldiers mocked him and called him a coward. But when the battle came, he ran into the fire unarmed, dragging wounded men to safety. That day, he saved 75 lives without firing a single bullet. He became the first man in history to win the Medal of Honor without taking a life. His story shows, real bravery isn't found in violence, it's found in courage. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. Oprah Winfrey. Let me tell you a story about Oprah Winfrey. Born into poverty in rural Mississippi, Oprah faced abuse, neglect, and repeated setbacks as a child. She was fired from her first TV job because executives said she was unfit for television. Instead of giving up, she kept working, learning, and building her own voice. She went from being a girl with no resources to one of the most influential media figures in the world. Her strength came from perseverance, self-belief, and refusing to let her past define her future. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. J.K. Rowling. Let me tell you a story about J.K. Rowling. Before Harry Potter, Rowling was a single mother living on welfare, struggling with depression, and constantly rejected by publishers. 12 publishers turned her down. She could have quit, but she didn't. Eventually, Bloomsbury accepted her manuscript, and Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. Rowling's story shows that persistence, even through repeated rejection, can create extraordinary success. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. Stephen Hawking. Let me tell you a story about Stephen Hawking. Diagnosed with ALS at just 21 and given only a few years to live, Hawking faced a world that expected him to fade away. He gradually lost his ability to move and speak, yet he continued to explore the universe through his mind. He authored groundbreaking scientific works, became one of the most famous physicists in history, and inspired millions by showing that the human spirit can transcend physical limits. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. Bethany Hamilton. Let me tell you a story about Bethany Hamilton. At 13, Bethany Hamilton lost her arm in a shark attack while surfing. Many would have abandoned their dreams, but she returned to the sport months later. She not only surfed professionally, but also became a symbol of resilience for millions around the world. Her story reminds us that what we lose does not have to define what we achieve. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. Thomas Edison. Let me tell you a story about Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. Each failure was a step toward learning what didn't work. He famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 1,000 ways that won't work." Edison's story teaches that persistence and experimentation can turn setbacks into breakthroughs. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. Nick Vujicic. Let me tell you a story about Nick Vujicic. Born without arms and legs, Nick faced bullying, depression, and a desire to give up on life. Instead, he turned his unique challenges into a platform for inspiring millions. He became a motivational speaker, traveling the world to teach people that limitations are often only in the mind. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. Michael Jordan. Let me tell you a story about Michael Jordan. Cut from his high school basketball team, Jordan could have quit. Instead, he used the rejection as fuel to train harder, push further, and achieve greatness. He became arguably the greatest basketball player of all time, proving that early setbacks can shape champions. And that's why he is the GOAT. Haha, I'm just kidding. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. Rosa Parks. Let me tell you a story about Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks refused to give up her bus seat in 1955, knowing she risked arrest. Her courage sparked the Montgomery bus boycott and became a defining moment in the civil rights movement. Parks' story shows how one quiet act of resistance can create ripple effects that change history. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. Elon Musk. Let me tell you a story about Elon Musk. Elon Musk was broke and bullied as a child. Elon Musk never gave up on his dreams. He started multiple companies from scratch, including Tesla and SpaceX, showing that vision and perseverance can defy the impossible. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. Steve Harvey, from homeless to icon. Before Steve Harvey became a comedian, TV host, and millionaire, his life was pure struggle. In the late 1980s, Steve was chasing his dream of stand-up comedy, but the money wasn't coming in. He was so broke that he couldn't pay rent, and eventually he became homeless for 3 years. He lived out of his car, surviving on sandwiches and gas station food. He would shower in public bathrooms at gas stations or hotels when nobody was watching. Sometimes he would barely eat for days. Yet he refused to quit comedy. He kept going to small shows, performing wherever he could, even if it meant driving hours and sleeping in his car afterward. One day, after almost giving up, Steve got a call to perform on Showtime at the Apollo in New York. That performance blew people away, and it opened doors. From there, he got bigger shows, TV hosting gigs, and eventually became the Steve Harvey we all know, hosting Family Feud, writing books, and inspiring millions. Lesson: sometimes the road to success takes you through rock bottom. Steve Harvey's homelessness wasn't the end. It was the grind that prepared him for greatness. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel, Colonel Sanders. Let me tell you a story about Colonel Sanders. At 65, with his restaurant failing, Colonel Sanders pitched his fried chicken recipe to over 1,000 restaurants. Each said no. Eventually, one agreed, and KFC became a global brand. His story proves it's never too late to start, and persistence can turn late-in-life failures into legendary success. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel.
The night I almost lost everything. I remember one night when everything felt like it was crashing down. Phone on 1%, pockets empty, heart full of anger. I was sitting on the pavement, staring at the city lights, wondering if I even mattered. That's when the thoughts started creeping in. Bro, maybe it's over. Maybe you'll never make it. Maybe you'll always be a failure. The shadow side of me was loud that night, and I almost listened, but then something snapped in my head. I remembered all the people who counted me out, all the faces that laughed when I said I'd do something big. And in that moment, I told myself, if I quit now, they win. If I stand up, even with nothing, I win. So I walked home, hungry, broke, tired, but with one small thing left. Fight. That night didn't kill me. It birthed a monster. Because sometimes strength isn't about having it all together. It's about standing up when everything inside you is telling you to stay down.
Wilma Rudolph. Let me tell you a story about Wilma Rudolph. Contracting polio as a child left Wilma Rudolph with a crippled leg. Through therapy and relentless determination, she became the fastest woman in the world, winning 3 Olympic gold medals and redefining what's possible. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. John Walsh, tragedy to advocate. Let me tell you a story about John Walsh. In 1981, John Walsh's 6-year-old son Adam was kidnapped and murdered. Most parents would have been crushed forever. But John turned his grief into a mission. He created America's Most Wanted, a show that helped catch more than 1,000 criminals. His story proves the darkest tragedies can give birth to the brightest purpose. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. The Rejected Player. Let me tell you a story about Saifo. In grade 9, Saifo tried out for the soccer team. He got laughed off the field. Instead of quitting, he trained every single day. By Matrix, he was captain, and the same coach who doubted him shook his hand with pride. From shadows to strength. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel.
The Outsider. Let me tell you a story about Nomsa. Nomsa was always the quiet girl nobody noticed. She ate lunch alone, and people whispered she'd never make it. Years later, she owns her own business and employs some of the same people who ignored her. From shadows to strength. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel.
The Broken Runner. Let me tell you a story about the Broken Runner. He trained for years, but on the day of the race, his leg gave out. Everyone passed him. He thought his dream was over, but instead of quitting, he came back stronger, training harder than ever. A year later, he crossed the same finish line, this time in first place. His failure became the fire that made him a champion. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel.
The Girl Who Failed Twice. Let me tell you a story about the girl who failed twice. She failed her final exams twice. Everyone told her to give up and find a job. Instead, she studied harder, rewrote her notes, and faced her fear on her 3rd try. She passed with distinction and became a teacher helping other struggling students. Moral: failure is just practice in disguise. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel.
The Homeless Graduate. Let me tell you a story about the homeless graduate. He slept on park benches, hiding his degree in a torn backpack. Every day he'd visit offices, begging for a chance. People laughed, saying, "You'll never make it." One day, a CEO saw him reading a finance book in the rain. Impressed, he offered him an internship. That same man now owns his own accounting firm. Moral: never let your situation define your destination. The Homeless Graduate. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel.
The deaf and blind girl who changed the world. Helen Keller. Let me tell you a story about Helen Keller. Helen Keller lost her sight and hearing at just 19 months old. Many thought she could never learn or communicate, but with the help of her teacher, Ann Sullivan, she learned to read, write, and speak through touch. She later graduated from college and became a world-famous author and activist. Lesson: limitations exist only if you allow them to. With determination, anything is possible. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. From homeless to hope, let me tell you a story about a woman who slept on cold streets, hungry and hopeless. People walked past her like she was invisible. But one day she found a library, and in those books, she found new dreams. She studied every day, got a job, and slowly built her life back. Today, she owns the company she once begged in front of. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. Cristiano Ronaldo, from hungry kid to football legend. Let me tell you a story about Cristiano Ronaldo. He grew up in poverty, shared a room with 3 siblings, cried when he was told he was too skinny to play, but he trained every morning, harder than anyone. Now, he's one of the greatest of all time. And for more videos like this, subscribe to my channel. The boxer with a broken hand. Let me tell you a story about the boxer with a broken hand. A young boxer broke his right hand before his first major fight. Everyone said it was over, but he trained his left hand for 6 months straight. When fight night came, he won with that same left hand. Moral: when life takes something from you, strengthen what remains. And for more videos like this, subscribe to my channel. Gordon Ramsay, the chef who cooked through pain. Let me tell you a story about Gordon Ramsay. Broke home, abusive father, wanted to play football. Injury ended the dream. So he went to the kitchen, turned his anger into excellence. Today, he's one of the world's top chefs. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. Michael Phelps, the boy they called too hyper. Let me tell you a story about Michael Phelps. Diagnosed with ADHD, couldn't focus in school. But when he swam, he felt peace. 28 Olympic medals later, the world called him a legend. Message: what they call a weakness might be your superpower. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. Eminem, the rapper who rose from nothing. Let me tell you a story about Eminem. Bullied, abandoned, dropped out of school. Everyone told him he'd fail. He turned his pain into lyrics, became one of the greatest rappers ever. Message: don't hide your scars, rhyme them. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. Aaron Ralston, the man who cut off his own arm to survive. Let me tell you a story about Aaron Ralston. Trapped by a boulder while hiking, alone, no signal, no help. After 5 days, he made a choice: cut off his own arm to live. He did it and walked out alive. And for more stories like this, subscribe to my channel. Shadows to Strength message. Sometimes you have to lose something to save everything.